Hey everybody, welcome to the Week 9 Waiver Wire show. I'm going to be running through position by position, giving you 3 plays to stream this week at each position, and then also give you depth plays, long-term plays, 3 waiver wire pickups for that as well. Basically, if you're looking to make a championship run and acquire depth, I have you covered there. If you're looking, you have somebody on bye week or you're dealing with some injuries, I got you covered this week in a stream as well. Before we get rolling, if you could spare 2 seconds to give me 2 clicks, 1 like, and 1 subscribe, believe it or not, YouTube locks some features. As soon as we become a YouTube channel, or a YouTube partner, we can improve the quality of our channel. We're really eager to do that, and we need your help to do that. Please subscribe, please like. We appreciate that. Now, what I'm going to be doing is rolling through position by position. I'm going to start with quarterback, go through tight end, defense, then I'm going to get through wide receiver, and then into running back. We'll get you in and out pretty quickly. We'll start with the Week 9 stream plays. If you have a bye week this week, these are the players that I like this week to play that could be on waivers. Matt Stafford owned in only 48.9% of the league. Matt Stafford is tied for the most 3 touchdown games in the league with 4. He's tied with a few other guys, Deshaun Watson being one of them. Ryan Tannehill only owned in 2.3% of the leagues. Now, I don't love the matchup here, but the thing is, Ryan Tannehill in 2 games so far, he's thrown 2 touchdowns and 3 touchdowns. So he's averaging 2.5. I think this Titans offense is really going to leap forward with Tannehill there. It's not my favorite matchup. This is more of kind of a gut play, but I like him. I have Jared Goff on bye week. I'm going to be looking at him somewhere else. And then we have Jacoby Brissett. Yes, I know he had tough sledding against the Denver Broncos, but I kind of predicted that. My analytics predicted that. I like the matchup more this week. Now, as we look forward into the quarterbacks in the long term, you're going to see a couple of repeats here, but Jacoby Brissett still is my favorite waiver wire pickup at the quarterback position for the rest of the season, although to be honest with you, Matt Stafford is starting to shoot up that board as well. Kirk Cousins I like quite a bit. I don't like him week to week, but to somebody to stash on your bench and have as kind of a waiver plug and play, I think is really great. You can see only owned in 63.2% of the leagues. And then I have Baker Mayfield at 56.4%. I knew he was going to have a bad game against the Patriots, but the schedule for Cleveland gets much, much better as we move forward into the rest of the 2019 season. I think he will, have something similar to the back half of last season, the 2018 his rookie year. I think he'll have some success going forward for the rest of the season. And then lastly, I just repeat Ryan Tannehill there for the same reasoning as before. Now, let's run through tight ends quickly. This week, Week 9, if you need to stream somebody, I like Jacob Hollister. I shudder because I was wrong on my picks last week. Jacob Hollister owned in, I think, 0.3% out of the leagues. I really have him moving forward and have a nice game against Tampa Bay this week. Darren Fells against Jacksonville. That is going to be a London game. Darren Fells has had 3 games with 2 touchdowns. He's kind of a boomer bust guy, but I do think he gets you enough yards to maybe not fit that boomer bust type moniker, I guess. Owned in only 11.6% of the leagues. He's got to be owned in more. I think after this week's waiver cycle on Wednesday, he will shoot up that board. And then Dallas Goedert, who I also like. They're playing Chicago this week, not the greatest matchup, but I think Philly will use the tight ends in that matchup against Chicago. Chicago's defense played fantastic. They should have won the game against the Chargers last week. Missed kick, oh well. But Dallas Goedert, I think, is outplaying Zach Ertz. In my projections, I have Zach Ertz slightly outdrawing Dallas Goedert in targets and yards and receptions, but I think Goddard might overtake Zach Ertz in the receiving game by the end of the year. Now, long-term here, tight end long-term plays, again, Darren Fells and Jacob Hollister also make my list. I was a little bummed out that Jacob Hollister didn't play as well as I had projected him to, but this week is a big projection for Hollister, so I'm doubling down on that prediction. If he does not come through for me this week, I'm going to remove him from the list, so you won't have to worry about it, but I do love his projection this week. Now, Chris Herndon, I like as well, owned in only 22.7% of the leagues. We saw Ryan Griffin have a great game for the Jets last week. When Herndon is back in, and it will be anytime he's still questionable, I think he's going to do well in this Jets offense. They need a tight end to keep things moving. All right, let's go to defense and special teams. I'm not going to give you long-term plays. I'm only going to give you the weekly stream plays here. I like the Panthers to bounce back after a really tough performance against the San Francisco 49ers. I think they Although I like Ryan Tannehill, I think they're going to produce enough turnovers and generate enough sacks to be worthy, and they're owned in only 49.4% of the leagues. I like the Tennessee Titans, meanwhile, against the Carolina Panthers. The thought being that this Titans defense is going to continuously improve while Tannehill keeps the offense on the field longer. Last season in 2018, the Jacksonville Jaguars, they were up here before when everybody drafted him, and then they plummeted because Blake Bortles in that offense could not stay on the field. The Jacksonville Jaguars defense, who was still very talented, they were sucking wins by the second half, and they gave up a lot of yards. I think you saw that to begin the year with the Tennessee Titans. Maybe not as extreme, but I do think that Tannehill will extend more drives. Yes, I just said Carolina will be able to get some sacks and get them off the field, but it's not going to be as if Marcus Mariota was back there throwing the balls into the ground and overthrowing receivers. I still think Tannehill's an upgrade, and I think the Titans' defense will improve as they just get more rest and they can do more things on defense. They can maybe take more chances with blitz. They can do a lot of things when you have a quarterback that can throw for 2 to 3 touchdowns a game. Now, lastly on my list, I have the Dallas Cowboys, who are owned in only 32.3% of the leagues. Now, they were on bye week last week, so I think a lot of people dropped them. They're playing the Giants. They're playing a rookie quarterback. I think this Dallas team can get back on track after, they lost against the Jets. They beat the Eagles before the bye week. But I think they'll take a step forward, that whole defensive unit. Now let's dig into the wide receivers. And first on my list, again, this is for the weekly streams here, if you need somebody to plug in. And I have a couple of New England wide receivers. The first is Philip Dorsett, who I love analytically. I said that last week as well. He didn't do great, but he did. It was kind of a sloppy game weather-wise, and he had some opportunities in the red zone and just didn't come through. But if you look at his stat lines throughout the year, he's actually performed and gotten in the end zone more often than not. Tom Brady looks for him. I think this Baltimore coverage, they got Peters now on the outside there. I think that New England might attack them through the middle and through the seams. So I like Philip Dorsett. Again, analytically speaking, my analytics like him again this week as well. Now, Mohamed Sanu is more of a gut feeling for me. I liked that Tom Brady was throwing his way. It already seemed like Tom Brady had some trust with him. Sanu blocks well. He's a really good receiver, kind of a do-everything type receiver. He's kind of like a typical Patriot player. I think he could be in line for some more targets. I don't know, like I said, my projection for him isn't strong this week, but I think he's a guy that you might want to take a flyer on, especially if you need maybe like somebody to get you 2 touchdowns. I think Dorsett is that guy for New England, but Mohamed Sanu could be that guy. And then Darius Slayton, and this comes with a little bit of an asterisk. If Sterling Sharp is out, I like Darius Slayton against the Cowboys. If Sterling Sharp is in, I don't like Darius Slayton as much. I have Sterling Shepard as a play. I have him well projected, but he didn't play last week, and Slayton was the beneficiary of that. I think that could happen again. Now, if you're looking for long-term plays at wide receiver, I've been keeping my eye on Deshaun Jackson for a while. I think he's been out since week 2. 64.2% of the leagues owned him. His owners are kind of getting tired. He's getting dropped more and more by the week. But when he comes back, he's going to add a different dynamic to this Philadelphia Eagles offense. I don't love him this week against Chicago, but long-term, I think he's going to be a nice pickup for you. Corey Davis, again, it's the Ryan Tannehill philosophy, owned now in 62.2% of the leagues. I think Corey Davis will have more opportunities this week than he did against Tampa Bay last week. And then Marquise Brown, 67.9%. He's also been injured. He's also been, week by week, just been dropped. Now he's coming back. He's playing the Patriots. That's a tough matchup. I don't like it this week, but long-term for the Ravens, I know they like to throw over the top to him. And with that tough Ravens running attack, there's going to be play action opportunities. Again, not this week against the Patriots, but long-term I like him. Now, last but not least, the running backs. It's thin pickings at running back, but let's just get in there. For this week in stream plays, Jamal Williams is still out there. He had 2 touchdowns against the Kansas City Chiefs. He gets into the end zone, owned in only 55.4% of the leagues. I like him. Devin Singletary, owned in 65.8% of the leagues, so more likely than not, he's not going to be there. Plays Washington, but he's one of these electric players that can score anytime he touches the ball. He got in the end zone on a 28-yard, I think, screen pass this week. This last week against Philadelphia. He's talented. I just want Buffalo to get him the ball more. It doesn't seem like they're really that eager to give him the ball, but he scores a lot. I saw the same thing last year with Nick Chubb when he was kind of the backup running back when they still had Carlos Hyde and Duke Johnson. Well, lo and behold, at the second half of the year, once Freddie Kitchens took over, Nick Chubb got the ball and he's electric. I think Devin Singletary, although he's not as dynamic as Nick Chubb, gives you that same electricity. And then Raheem Mostert of San Francisco, they play Arizona on Thursday night. Matt Breida's a little banged up. I tend to think he's not going to play because it's a short week. If Breida does not play, I think Mostert is a nice pickup for you. He'll get carries against this team. Now, long-term plays, if you're looking to build depth for the playoff run, I still like Mark Walton. I think this Dolphins team will get better and better. If they can just stay in the games and not give up a lot of points in the second half and everything as they've been doing. They've been crumbling in the second half, which to me just cries for them needing depth. They just get tired and they have no depth to rotate in. But Mark Walton, I still like him as a pickup. Trey Carson, you got to pick him up now. Although I'm still a hold on Ty Johnson. I was a little bit irked when I did my early week kind of running back the fantasy football fallout stuff. But after looking back, I still think this offense moved better with Ty Johnson. I have him on my squad. I'm going to hold him. I'm not going to try to waive him and pick up Carson. I'm going to hold Johnson because I think the offense is better. We see what Stafford's doing. I think they will continue to pass the ball, so I like that. Then lastly on my list here for the long-term plays, Darius Geis. It's easy to forget about him. His whole rookie season was missed with an injury. I think he went out in week 1 after that Philly game with an injury. He's been on the IR. I believe he just returned to practice. I think he's going to be eligible in week 11, so you want to start picking him up. I will certainly be doing that in my league. I think he will be taking over for Adrian Peterson, and interim Coach Callahan wants to run the ball. So there you go. There's a full week of waiver wire transaction suggestions. Please let me know if you think I'm missing somebody or you disagree with this list. Comment. Let's have a conversation about it. Let's chat. Once again, please like and subscribe. And then check out our playlist too. We're priming you for week 8. The game previews come out on Wednesday, and the game deep dives and game plan predictions come out on Thursday. They also come out with fantasy football predictions, daily fantasy football analytics, all that stuff, score projections and everything. So that's pretty good. And then we load up towards the end of the week as well. So keep an eye out. Check out that playlist. I do the playlists every week. If you want to see what they look like, you can look at week 7's playlist because that's in there as well. Subscribe, like, and I will be in touch soon. Thanks, everybody.